Hi, it's Treacle here from FordGuides.co.uk. Today we're going to look at installing a dashcam into a 2012 to current Ford Fiesta. The process is probably very similar on an earlier 2008 to 2012 car, the pre-facelift, but in this case everything I'm showing you is on a facelift car. This one in particular is a 2014 Fiesta ST. In this case we are going to be installing a Viofo A119 and we're going to be using a hard wiring kit as well. In my case the hard wiring kit's already partially installed as I've had a previous dashcam, but I will show you most of the installation of that. Now this isn't an unboxing video, but inside your box, whatever camera you do buy, you'll have your camera, instruction manual, and within it you will find a power cable with 12 volt power socket on it. You can use it in your 12 volt socket to work out where you're going to be positioning the camera. So unravel it all, plug it into the 12 volt socket, and then plug the lead in. So with the camera powered up, you can then hold it up to your windscreen and decide where you're going to mount it. Try and keep it out of the view of the passenger, keep it out of the view of the driver, and if you can, keep it so the lens points out at the swept area where your windscreen wipers do sweep, as you'll get better coverage. The next step is to just clean particularly well that area of the windscreen. You need to do that so that you get good adhesion and your camera mount will stay attached. Once you've wiped it over, grab another dry cloth and wipe off any residue that's left. Once you've done that, you can then peel off the backing tape off of your mount. Check once again that you've lined up how you want to be lined up, and then press the mount into place. Push, applying a bit of force, and then if you can as well, release the camera. Once you have released the camera off the mount, press it on a bit harder and use this opportunity to make sure that it's very on there and isn't coming off anytime soon. Now with the mount in place, you need to start wiring up the hard wiring kit. So to do that, we're going to open the glove box, push in the two sides to pull it down further so you can gain access to the fuse box just behind. We will then wire in the hard wiring kit. So with the hard wiring kit, you'll have two wires that need attaching. You'll have a red wire and a black wire. The black wire is your earth lead, and on the end of it just crimp a small ring, and if you can see up there, there is a 10mm nut just up there, which I've just loosened off, put the ring in, and then done the nut back up again. On the power side, I've used an adder fuse kit, which in this case is for a mini blade fuse. So grip that onto the end there, and then the other end you need to just power up, making sure you've got the correct rating fuse for your camera. You could use a test lead or multimeter to test which fuses are ignition live in this case, because you only want the dashcam on when your ignition's on, but in this case I already know that this 7.5 amp fuse on the far side, second one up, is an ignition live fuse. It's for the 12 volt socket, which is powered only when the ignition's on, so that's good enough for us. So you just want to remove the fuse, a small pull, nice and straight, will release it, and then into its place you want to connect up your adder fuse connection. just like so. Then you want to get the fuse that you've just removed and put it into the spare slot on the other fuse block, so that is now live whenever your ignition is switched on. I'll need to apologise for the poor lighting conditions here, but your next step would be to remove the door seal, just to pull it back slightly in the area where you need to poke the cable through. It's just this part here. The easiest bit is to put it in the corner, pull it up towards you nice and straight, nice and gently, and just release it just a little bit. Next thing you need to do is to feed the power lead through the car. Easiest way to do that is to send it down through here and it will come out the other side of your dashboard. You need to find the end of your cable, and if you just reach through and down, I don't know how much you can see, but through and down, and it will come out the other side. It's a two-handed job, but it can be done. Anywhere you can get the cable through is good enough. And once it's out, just pull it all the way through so that you know you have enough length. We're going to work the cable behind the trim, hiding it behind the sill and in between the trim and the bodywork, all the way up to the top of the windscreen, where you will then feed it across to where you want to mount your camera. So with the cable now plugged in, we can hide the cable in behind the rain sensor mount and keep tucking it up, and you can tuck it up behind the headliner. I would plug it into the mount and then work this way around so that you know how much length you need. Keep tucking it in. There's no need to pull down the headlining or remove the sun visors. It will just tuck in nicely behind there and won't be seen. When you get to the corner, it does get a little bit more tricky, but it does still mount in. It does still mount in without any trouble. So we're now in here, and the cable is hiding in here, and you can see we've got the excess here. So we want to just keep pulling the seal back, putting it back in place as we work our way down until we know just how much excess we need to pull back into the glove box to hide. Once we've got the last little bit, in my case I've actually realised I could just loop it behind the dash, but as there's quite a bit of excess, I'm just going to put it through from the glove box, and then any excess after that we will just hide behind the seal. Put the seal back in place and make sure that it's firmly reattached the whole way round, and you have a good connection, even in areas where you haven't removed the seal. Just double check it's fully attached, because if there are any areas where it isn't attached, properly, you will, or you could get water getting into your car, which you don't want. So now with that all in place, nicely hidden, the final step is to close up your glove box, which you can either just force it up like that, or if you really wanted to, you could push the sides back in again, close it up. That's that done. Then for the final time, you want to grab your camera, we're going to mount it up one more time. Now that everything's in place, going to switch on the ignition, and with it, if everything's correct, the power light on the camera will come on, shortly followed by the screen, and it will start recording, which you can see up there. And that is it. When you switch off the ignition, it will carry on recording for a short time before switching off. Those flashing lights on the far side there are just this camera that I'm using, the GoPro. Camera is now switched off. Switch back on the ignition, and once again the camera will power up and the screen will come on and start recording your view. And that's it. The dash cam is now fully installed. From the front of the car, you can just make out the camera sitting next to the rain sensor. It's there. Because this one comes with the black tape, it's not as obvious as my last camera which had grey tape. So it's nicely there. Final thing, of course, is don't forget to remove the film off your lens once you're happy with its position. What I'll do is I'll overlay a couple of short clips of this particular dash cam in use, which records in 1440p at 30 frames per second on my settings. I will do that just so that you get an idea of this camera in approximately that position recording forwards, so you can see what it does.